What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the GoLow channel. We have separated it from 3 and Out and all the football content. We are going to do a separate YouTube channel. We are going to do a separate podcast feed. So make sure you subscribe because we're going to have a lot of golf content. Hopefully me on the course more. Obviously next year, all of our podcasts from gambling to talking about the golf tournaments to interviews. Got some bright ideas. Now it's time to execute. But make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed, which is separate from my normal feed that is football-based. And we will have you covered because today we're going to dive in. I was there on Friday, taking in the experience, just have a lot of thoughts. Obviously, I watched flying home from New York on the plane on Saturday, and I was glued. I usually watch football right here at my desk because I got multiple TVs. And right here, I have a screen that I usually have the red zone on so I can look at replays. Yesterday, I had the Ryder Cup, and your boy was glued. And it was incredible theater. And I want to start there. I've been very fortunate. I've been to a Super Bowl. I've been to World Series multiple times, and I've been to the NBA Finals. I was actually at the game that LeBron, Game 7, beat the Warriors. And I've been to a ton of playoff games in those sports as well. And I've never been to an event like this. It's obviously very unique because you get to the course and there's not that many people on the course, right? There are 4 groups, and in alternate shot, there are only, 2 golf balls, so there are 8 total golf balls on the course at one time. And where I set up shop, in the second half of the day was like hole 17. A couple of the groups didn't even make it to us because we were getting drubbed. We were getting destroyed. And I think what makes this event really, really special, and I think I might probably tweeted this out on the Everything app. If I was an American golfer, if you told me you could win one tournament in the world in your career, if you were a pro, it would be the Masters. And I think most universally, if we just polled American golfers, pro golfers, young guys that want to be pros, they'd be like, I want to win the Masters. I think this event would easily be second. I would rather play in this event, especially win this event. I've never seen anything like this. It was like golf meets the SEC meets like a world war. Obviously, no one's dying here. I mean, there was a scene when I got there because people get there so early. It looked like some of those pictures that you saw like from Vietnam or something with these guys like laying out. And it was just like bodies everywhere. People were just destroyed. Because you're getting there at the crack of dawn and you're drinking. Again, it's different than war. No one's dying. I'm not paralleling it there. I'm just saying the scene of just a bunch of dudes from like 25 to 40 just spread out everywhere. I was like, what is going on here? But you could sit at hole 15 and you're waiting 3 hours before anyone comes your way. But there is just like this buzz on the course, which has an enormous, I would say, acreage. I'd never been to Bethpage before this. It is massive. It's a massive piece of property. It looks like a course that doesn't actually look that fun, but it'd be a fun course to just say you played, to just check it off the bucket list. Obviously, it was playing much. I didn't think it looked that easy, but relative to these guys, they were destroying it. And by the time we got there on Friday, we had gotten drubbed in the morning. Right, your boy was out to about 3:30 in the morning on Thursday night into Friday. I had some ambitious plans, but we didn't make it there till basically they were teeing off for the second round, and we just proceeded to get destroyed again. And this event, right? You obviously saw the passion that all the Europeans had when they won it throughout the event. Clearly, they played great. And if Scottie Scheffler's not going to be playing well, which he clearly didn't up to his standards. I mean, I watched him on a couple holes, hit shots like that didn't look that great. Like, what is going on? I was on the plane about to land when he had a wedge in to 18 on Saturday morning in the first group, and he almost shanked it. I think it was like a 107-yard shot, and he definitely hit some hosel. And it barely cleared the bunker and ended up in this shitty spot for Henley that got up and down, but it didn't even matter, and they lost. That Europeans, and this is why I said, like, listen, I'm as pro-America as anyone that talks about sports for a living, but if you remove the emotion, this is not a fair fight. I mean, they have, if Scottie, assuming that he played well, I think they had the next three or four best players, right? Rory won multiple times this year and won the Masters. Tommy Fleetwood is arguably the hottest player in the world. Jon Rahm had an excellent season on Live and, definitely came to play in the majors, but you just chalk him up for this thing. Justin Rose had just won within the last couple months and has played in about 50 of these fucking things and is one of the best players the last 25 years. So felt pretty good about him. Terrell Hatton, unreal. And you're just like, I don't know, man. Some of their random guys are like Bob McIntyre. And every time I looked up at a PGA Tour leaderboard, there was McIntyre on the thing. So it's like, their team's loaded. Now it's like, well, home soil, New York, it's going to get crazy. My experience wasn't that crazy. I didn't see that many people crossing the line. Now, my number one takeaway is people are just getting annihilated drunk there. So the amount of alcohol consumed had to shatter records relative to the amount of people that were that were let into the gates. I would say the average amount of drinks for a male that crossed the Bethpage sign and got into the gates had to be like 5.5. It had to be extremely high. And these were not, a beer would cost you $15, a cocktail was $21, and people were slamming those things, myself included. Though I was so hungover, it was actually just bringing me back to neutral. But I just was kind of people watching, and I saw I didn't see any of the FU to a player, which clearly was happening, and getting pretty uncomfortable. Where I am always anti-tossing a guy out of a PGA event. I get if people are constantly saying "fuck you" to me. It's why those guys were saying it back to them. Getting guys tossed out, I had no issue with. And clearly, I think it got a little crazy on Saturday or Sunday. But there's no disputing that group from Rory to Rahm to Fleetwood to Rose, pretty unfazed by it. Because, as the kids would say, that was belt to ass. And if it wasn't for a couple hour stretch on Sunday, this thing wasn't even remotely close. We got drubbed. We are extremely excited to announce our new presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. Everyone knows and loves their hotels and casinos, but now you can use the top-rated Hard Rock Bet sportsbook to place all your NFL bets this season. Hard Rock Bet is the only legal sportsbook in the state of Florida and is also available in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, and Colorado, with more states to come. You can also play on Hard Rock Bet's online casino if you are in New Jersey. As we gear up for the NFL season, sign up for Hard Rock Bet and make a $5 bet, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Head over to Hard Rock Bet, sign up, and make your first deposit today. I have a big picture thought on this. I think as Americans, we are wired a lot different than Europeans. I haven't been to Europe in 20 years. But I remember when I went there, the pace, and listen, everywhere in America is different. I was thinking this like when I flew out to New York, I hadn't been there in a long, long time. I'd only been there a couple times in my entire life. There is a pace when I'm just in the Uber from JFK to Manhattan. I swear to God, we got almost in 75 wrecks. And my Uber driver was completely unfazed. And he's bobbing and weaving in and out of things like he's Dale Earnhardt. And then staying in the city for a couple of days, I don't know how more people on an hourly basis don't die in crosswalks. Which I always said this, like one thing I related to a lot in Philly, I kind of like the character of the people. Now, Philly and New York are a little different, but there is a similar aggressive nature. Go to Europe. It's not like that. These people are not wired like that. So just as a society, we are wired a lot different than the people that we are playing against. There's also this. We're obsessed with money here, which, listen, I'm guilty too. It's a huge part of our culture. And the Europeans, especially the guys playing in this, are filthy rich. It's not like they're anti-money. Jon Rahm took $400 million to go to Live. Rory's made $500, $600, $700 million in his career. Tommy Fleetwood's definitely made over $100 million. Justin Rose has made several. These guys are super rich. So it's not like they, I hate this. It's like we were obsessed with money. They're not. They love their money too. All these guys are living in massive mansions in Florida, in Dallas, Texas, in Arizona. Like Jon Rahm lives down the street from me. It ain't a small pad. So these guys like their coin. But this event to them, and Paul McGinley said this on Saturday, is just about something more and something special. Where clearly for us, I mean, it goes back to the Tiger and Phil days, held back to like, I think, Jack. We have had a huge issue with doing this for free, right? Or not doing this for not being just straight up paid, like an appearance fee. And last year, the No Hat Pat, or 2 years ago, was basically Xander, even his dad said it. Like this, it's kind of BS, it's messed up. And you get there, you realize like this event is generating an insane amount of money. And our guys, the way we're brought up in this country, if you're in business or partnered and just involved in this, you'd be like, where is my cut? Which I kind of understand. Who's to say that if you or I weren't in that position that Kent lays in? I was like, I'm looking around. I see Goldman Sachs. I see all these law firms paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for a suite on hole 18 that half the groups never even make it to. And there are suites everywhere all over the facility. But as Paul McGinley said, that was a rallying cry for us because we never talk about money when it comes to this event. And let's face it, like Xander and Cantlay became friends like 5-6 years ago. Bryson DeChambeau wasn't friends with these guys. Their relationship as a team, like JJ Spawn is not close with JT Justin Thomas. Like these guys, Keegan Bradley has admitted that for about a decade plus as he played on the PGA Tour, he had no friends. He hated everybody. Yet when you see the visual and the still shot of Tommy Fleetwood grabbing Justin Rose's head and them touching foreheads, it's like you can't fake the bond that these two guys have, even though they're different age ranges, coming from Europe and becoming PGA Tour stars. Rory and Shane Lowry have known each other for decades. Like, that's not like random, we're both just golfers, we're buddies. Like, they are true childhood friends. And I think there is something that, and I told this to Coward on Sunday night when we talked about it after football, is if you do business, right, with someone, a random guy that you don't care about, that's great, whatever. But when you do something professionally in life with someone you care a lot about, someone you have a high level of respect, someone you consider a friend, there is a different element to it. And we can't fake that, right? Our two most famous players the last 25 years didn't even like each other, Tiger and Phil. Now, I don't think it's that with this because Scottie's an easygoing guy. Everyone likes him. But do I go, yeah, Scottie Scheffler and Bryson DeChambeau are really, really close friends. They text and talk all the time. Of course not. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but like all these guys can play golf, right? And if they get hot, every single one of these guys, all 24 of them, and obviously the elite guys, can shoot 65 with their eyes closed. And the Scotties and the Fleetwoods and the Justin Thomases and the Cam Smiths or Cam Youngs and the Rahms, they can shoot 60 when they're on. Like they can fucking dominate. So it's like, what is the separating factor? Because I hear all these different opinions. They made putts, they didn't make putts. Those guys, that cohesion, they generally like each other. Like, and there is a bond that they have because they've had to leave their countries to come to ours to make a living. Because the DP World Tour, like, cool, it doesn't pay what it pays over here, right? The pinnacle of the sport is here. Special bond. Think about like the NBA or baseball. If you are from Cuba or you are from the Dominican and you come over here and you become a stud in Major League Baseball and you have a teammate, who do you think you're going to be closest with? The other dude from Dominican that maybe you knew from when you were a kid or have mutual friends, or the three dudes from Dallas and Alabama? It's just human nature, right? People have cliques from football teams to offices to watch a show like about a prison. People gravitate toward people they're used to being around. And I think that's what the European Ryder Cup, on the most basic level, assuming all things are equal, which they clearly were not, they had the better team, they have that advantage. And you can't manipulate that, right? As you get older, I'll give an example. I'm 40 years old. Making new friends, like you get new people in your life, and it's really powerful when you meet someone that you respect and you like and you can call a friend. But there is something about, like, when you look back, like I've known this guy for 30 years, and that having that background with a human being. And as you get older, maybe you look at life differently. Maybe you go down different roads professionally. One guy has success, one guy doesn't, whatever. But there's a bond that you have with that person that you're probably just not going to have with many other people, even as they come into your life as you age. And I think that's evident when you watch this Ryder Cup. I mean, I really do. And I also think there's a level of like, if these guys can handle whatever was being said to them on Friday and or Saturday and Sunday, like I don't see how if all things like guys are just playing well, we don't get destroyed in a couple years. Their advantage is massive, and we just won't overcome. Like we just all of a sudden won't care. Like yeah, we it's not about the money, man. And I'm not saying our guys don't care. Like being out there, one thing I will never do again is like I think the points list is fucking meaningless. Obviously, you're not just going to take guys who are playing like crap. Like you want guys that are playing well. But watching that environment, like Justin Thomas, now he's not playing his best golf right now, but he's very comfortable in that environment. He's extremely comfortable in that environment. And you watch Colin Morikawa, you're like, I don't know if he's that comfortable. You watch Russell Henley, who's had an incredible season. Like, I don't know. I'm just not quite seeing it. And then you watch the way like Fleetwood and Justin Rose and Shane Lowry and Rory, these guys carry themselves like they're just some dogs, And I just think moving forward, we got to have like a dog checklist. Like you kind of got to be ready for the heat. And you can't just take, oh, he's played well in the Honda Classic. He did really well in the AT&T, the Procore Championship. No one that compares to this 0%. Absolutely 0%. And like you need like Cam Young showed me like that guy's a dog. I mean, that guy is a here's the thing with Bryson. He's different, right? But like that guy lives for that week. Justin Thomas has for a long time. I'll even say this, like he needs to play better, but Patrick Cantlay, if he's playing decently, is on my team. And all these other random guys, like it's very, very difficult to just bring some random guy. And Europeans have not done that the last couple times, and it's been massive advantage to them. Can I tell you about my friends at Mando? Here's the thing. Summer is upon us. Where I live, I think it's 110 degrees today, and I'm a sweater, and I don't like smelling. So the key with Mando and their deodorant, it has sweat control. So not only does it block the odor all day, but it controls my sweat. I don't like to just be soaked if I'm just walking outside to grab something out of my car. And here's the thing. It was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. So all the products, they're baking soda free, and you can choose from a variety of fresh scents like bourbon leather, Clover Woods, Mount Fuji is the one I use, or just the go-to pro sport. Want to try America's #1 whole body deodorant formula right now? You can find them in Walmart, Target, and other retailers around the country. Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid starter deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like Mini Mando body wash or deodorant wipes, love those, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use the code JOHN, that's JOHN, at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. shopmando.com. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered. Protect your pits, baby. Smell great doing it. Now, clearly, for whatever reason, I can imagine, and Koepka used to say this, in one area we got screwed that they didn't, like Rahm, Hatton, left, and like those guys kept kicking ass and taking names. We lost DJ and Koepka to live, and they're just like, quit. It's like, kind of need the thoroughbreds. Like, when Morikawa became a star at the Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits, his partner was? Dustin freaking Johnson, an absolute thoroughbred. And you're looking out there like, where are thoroughbreds beside like Scottie Scheffler and the way Cam Young was playing and Bryson's energy? They don't really exist. I think JJ Spawn, I got no problem with JJ Spawn being on the team as like an 11th or 12th guy. And I know he qualified, but like I said, the point thing, like Justin Rose, you want that guy in the trenches with you. Like, it's just so evident and obvious. Like, this guy's made for this event. Why? Because he has 25 years of playing at an extremely high level against Tiger, against Phil, against Dustin Johnson, against every fucking person that's played golf since the internet started. And you're looking, you're like, Russell Henley, cute little story, supposed to be a good putter, can't make a putt for save his life on this, in this tournament. Doesn't hit the ball very far. What's going on? And I also think Keegan Bradley, looking back, should have been on the team a couple years ago because he's a good example. That if he wasn't the captain, he's a guy like JT, like Bryson, that really cares. And this event means a lot to him and wants to be in the fire. Now, he doesn't know if he's going to make the shot or miss the shot, but he wants the ball in his hands. He's not going to pass it. And he was named the captain. He was put into a precarious situation. I don't blame him at all for, for taking the role. And then he was in a tough situation, ultimately punted on being on the team where he clearly is better. And like, he didn't have enough faith in a guy that he rolled out, which we can debate whether Harris English and Colin Morikawa should have gone out a second time. Well, obviously not if Harris English is going to be in the envelope. That tells you exactly what you think of the guy. Even though I would have put Colin Morikawa in the envelope, regardless, like, our team is all messed up. And I saw Jeff Ogilvy today at the gym, and I said, the one sad thing is, like, it felt like we panicked. We had some ideas of our teams, and then we played bad. It's like they didn't panic. He's like, honestly, when you start losing, I've been to a lot of President's Cup. It's a natural reaction to start flipping things. If the roles were reversed, they probably would have done the same thing. So it's easy to go, well, they found, because they kept talking about this on the broadcast, is like Rory and Fleetwood. It's taken forever to find Rory an awesome partner. And then you see him playing with Fleetwood. It's like Scottie and Michael running the fast break in 1992. And you're watching us, we're like placing Scottie with like 7 different guys. It's like, what are we doing? We're putting Cantlay with different guys and Cam Young. We don't know. We don't have any team cohesion. And the only group that, like, historically we've had over the last, I don't know how many times, is Spieth and Thomas. Well, Spieth played like crap and is injured and is just MIA, and Xander and Cantlay. But, like, we don't really have a partner for Scottie Scheffler. Cam Young is new to the team. Guess what? He's on the team moving forward if he's playing well. And, JT's partner's missing. So we have these new guys. We're not sure how to put them in. We don't know if they're going to be able to handle the heat because it's pretty hot here in the kitchen. And it was all just out of whack. And a lot of people are blaming, the one thing. I just walked around because I'd never been there. So when guys are on like hole 4, 5, and 6, and you're walking to, get to hold 9 and 10, you kind of walk through the course. Like you go through 14, 13, 12, and you can just walk on a hole when no one's there. And the rough, was legitimately short. Like, now the course for a normal guy, looked really long, like looked really tough. I know these guys were unlimited birdies. I do think the average, like, I'm like a 5 handicap. I don't know if I'm breaking 85, right? Now, maybe, who knows? Maybe the greens were much slower and it would have been easier, but it looked outrageously long. But one thing we've seen with these guys, if it is soft and there's no rough, they will annihilate any course in the world. And obviously the Europeans were playing much better and they bent us over. But there's an element of, like, the cohesion. This gets back to what I said about friendship and partnerships. Imagine people, if you play golf, like a guy that you play a lot of golf with, you have a pretty good chemistry with them, right? That you can go into a tournament, a member or member guest, if that's a guy that you play with a lot of the year. If I just put you with a random guy, even if you're both similar players, who knows? And that's what it kind of felt that we were doing. It's not because these guys were bad guys or playing that bad. It was, we just have no chemistry. And the way our sport is built, and they just do everything on their own. And I remember Koepka's quotes, I think it was in Rome, that, just the Ryder Cup really throws off your routine. And it feels like we complain a lot about that. Like, your routine. I never hear the Europeans talking about routine. It's like, okay, you get a shorter warm-up. Whatever. We'll be ready. Okay, this is a little different than we're used to. Okay, what do we got to do? And we're always bitching and moaning. And there's like a country club vibe to our operation that there just isn't with these guys. Even though they're equally as rich. Honestly, their crew now is probably, like, the group they just rolled out is richer than our guys. But there is like this, I don't know, this thing that's in their roots, like in the way they grew up, that they are able to throw back to. Like, most of those dudes from Europe did not grow up on a country club. Most of those dudes from Europe were not playing sweet courses up until like 16, 17 years old, right? Most of those guys, it's just a much harder life in Europe in terms of the wealth. Most of our guys grew up on country clubs, grew up playing fucking pretty well. And I just think there's like a grittiness in this situation that we lacked that they had. You could say, oh, well, they made putts. Yeah, I don't know. I was there. I saw it. I was like, I'm betting on those guys, not on those guys. It was tangible being there. It really was. And then when we didn't have anything to play for, right? It's like, well, we're gonna get our ass kicked anyway. Let's just be loose and start firing at pins. We storm back. Then obviously we got some momentum and we're talented, and we didn't quit. But it's much easier. And there's another thing Ogilvy said: it's much easier to be an underdog. And I'd argue for anything in life, right? It's easy to be the guy chasing and to be motivated and to want it. And they were a massive underdog. No, you're not going to win in New York. We're not. Because Rory McIlroy is going, I'm better than everyone here, especially in this environment. I'm better than Scottie Scheffler. We go, who's our second best player? Bryson? Well, Fleetwood's playing way better than he is right now. Who's our third best player? Because I'll take Jon Rahm over them all. Do they have a Justin Rose on this operation? Looking around? Nope. You know? And it's like, yeah, Shane Lowry might not be as good as some of their guys, but put him with me, Rory McIlroy. I'll bet your ass he is. And that's just, there's going to be a lot of talk about this and that. Like, I do think that's a huge, huge element. And I will look at this different moving forward. Is when you pick the team, like I'll pick a guy that's 20th on the points, right? If he's playing decent and I know that he can handle it. And I'd say Max Home would be a guy who has played well in crazy environments and you feel in tough environments. Now, he can't be, the 80th guy in the world at the time. And you could argue world rankings, but you know what I mean. He's got to be playing better than he is now. But I would lean to take those guys over just looking at the points. Who gives a flying what about the points? They are so irrelevant moving forward. Honestly, I don't know exactly how you would do this. I would have 0 automatic qualifiers. I would pick the entire team from scratch. Clearly, some of the guys that have high points are going to be auto picks, right? You would never pass on Scottie Scheffler or, but like, oh, Russell Henley's third. He's been awesome on the PGA Tour. Is it going to translate? I don't know. Might not. Because if I don't think it does, then he's not coming. And that's what I would do. Because I just saw a team. It was like the big dogs versus the puppies. And I think a huge element was like, oh, this guy's playing well in, May and April and June on the PGA Tour. I've been to PGA Tour tournaments. Nothing like what I just witnessed out there. Nothing. The just intensity of it all was probably felt like Penn State at night or LSU at night or Georgia Bama at night. It was just an intensity that like, this is a different animal. And I'm obviously guys screaming at the Euros, but even the intensity, if you're an American, like all these people looking at you, you're wearing American, colors. Everyone's wearing American colors. It was intense. Can I tell you about my friends at Rag and Bone? They sent me a couple pair of jeans. I was just in New York, had a big event on Thursday, went to a nice dinner on Friday, rocked them. Here's the thing. They felt broken in right away when I wore them. They're stretchy in the right places. That waist stretch, but not like a pair of sweatpants, but a pair of pants that, if you've had a little too much to eat, they feel great. They look great. They also sent me this kind of designer tee that I'm going to rock this weekend in Napa. Can't wait. Got a 40th birthday party. So it's time to upgrade your denim with Rag & Bone. For a limited time, our listeners get 20% off their entire order with the code GOLOW, GOLOW, at rag-bone.com. Again, that's 20% off at rag-bone.com with the promo code GOLOW. These jeans, they fit fantastic. They look great. I just look better. So I can't wait. Rock them again this weekend in Napa. And again, rag-bone.com, promo code GOLOW to get 20% off your entire order. Can't beat that. I think what makes the event so cool is like there's not that much happening at it, right? If you go on Friday or Saturday, there are 4 different groups twice, the morning and the afternoon. There's not that much golf going on, right? And if you stick on hole 1 and you watch them all go off, well, it ends after the last group, right? So if you sit on hole 16, or especially toward the end of the golf course, there's a chance if people are getting drubbed, they do not make it to you. We were on 17, and we had kind of bobbed and weaved and watched them. 2 of the 4 groups did not make it to us. They didn't make it to us. And I think that's what makes the event so cool. And no one even cares. It's just like kind of out there drinking, partying, having a good time. But man, I just, it was really cool. Really enjoyed, just the whole experience. I think I'm recording this before the Monday Night Football games, but I'll probably go on a rant about New York City. Blown away. I've just, as a Philly guy, I've always kind of naturally talked shit because I've only been there a couple times. I was there a lot younger, and I spent multiple years, 3 years in Philly, but living there for 2. And just the people I were around always talk shit, so I just agreed with them. It's like, yeah, New York sucks. And then you're there, you're like, this place. And I expected it, like San Francisco's a dump. It's really dirty. So I expected that with New York City. I was blown away. It's like clean. Where are the crackheads? Where are the homeless encampments? Like they don't exist here in Manhattan. I mean, this place is vibing. It's just an energy there. It's like Vegas meets a big city, meets a lot of Irish pubs and booze, and now it's expensive, borderline ripoff. But I did like the Penn Station across from MSG. It's just the food court was like nicer than the food court where I stayed going to Fox Sports 1 at the mall in Century City. It's like, this place is incredible. I might just eat dinner here. So I had a really, really good time. I think the Ryder Cup is a pretty special event. And it would take me a lot to pay close attention to something on, a late September, Saturday and Sunday. And I easily did. I didn't even think twice about it. And it's just, there's a palpable energy, obviously, when you're there, but even when you're watching on television, you're like, this feels really big. And they feel it. And that's where, Koepka used to say this about the majors. Like, I'm only competing against 10 to 12 guys. And what he's saying is most people here are going to crumble under the pressure. Well, if there are 24 guys in a Ryder Cup, it may be less of a percentage because to make it here is much more difficult. But there is something that, like, some of these guys are going to crumble under the weight, and it's going to be too much. And they're going to put too much pressure on themselves. That's what makes golf different than, like, in football, you can try really hard if you're a defensive lineman or a linebacker or an offensive guard, right? In basketball, you can work your feet, play defense, just get into it. In golf, the harder you try, sometimes the worse you play. I think Keegan mentioned this. It's a weird sport that way. So you got to be in this weird, like, into it and focus, but also kind of relaxed. And I just don't think we found our spot the last couple times. And we're obviously changing our team dramatically from 2 years to 2 years. And part of that is on the players. I mean, they're playing poorly. And part of that is some of our legendary. I mean, Koepka won 5 majors, and he won the waste management twice. Think about that. Koepka's won 5 majors and the waste management twice. What does that say about Brooks Koepka? He's a bright lights guy. He's made for this event. You can give me, I don't even know what his record is. I know this. If he's playing decently, this type of event where you feel pretty good, and I know he was shitty the last time in Rome, but my point is, like they need that personality. Well, he doesn't exist anymore because he's not playing well at golf. DJ just kind of waved the white flag, just over it. DJ is a good example. Like, he ain't going to be that phased by this. He's seen it all, right? And those guys are just gone. So it's like insert Harris English, who seems like a nice guy, good player. They put him in the envelope. If you get put in the envelope, it's like, should you even, and I get you have to put someone in the envelope, but I think that tells you everything you need to know. And Morikawa just can't be on this team. Nobody wanted him on this team. He wasn't trending to be on this team. And not only was he put on this team, it felt like Keegan believed in him more than all of us, which is crazy because he's not playing well. He does not pass the eye test and clearly does not pass the on the course test because he got his ass kicked twice. And at least Harris English got put in the envelope. He's getting his butt kicked. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, man, it was extremely fun to watch. I mean, that stretch yesterday, Cam Young coming down the stretch, winning that match, Justin Thomas making that putt, and Bryson DeChambeau coming storming back in his match. was as good of a couple hour stretch as we've had. That was in Scottie versus Rory. That was really pretty sweet. We were probably a Bryson putt away from having a real chance. Once he pushed his match, it was going to be pretty difficult, especially coming down to, basically it could come down to Morikawa. You're like, oh, we're out. Um, yeah, that was great. That was fantastic television. That's explosive. Now, no one's gonna care. Like people with NBC, people with the PGA of America, people with the DP World Cup. Can you imagine if this wasn't during an NFL Sunday and it was just on, I don't know, NFL preseason? The amount of people that would watch this, I do think the calendars. I've always said this about baseball: like shorten it and move it back. How are you competing against the NFL in October? No one's gonna pay attention unless it's Yankees and Dodgers. Like you're in major trouble. That was. I'm a consumer. I love this type of stuff. Any sport, if it matters that much, and I watched, but I'm afraid that a lot of people I think that would have enjoyed it would have watched or watching like Jackson Dart or watching the Eagles play Tampa Bay. And I think you would cut through if this was the last week of August when the NFL is done, even with the preseason, and it's basically the opening weekend of college football when there's just a couple games. And that would be my recommendation, but hopefully Brian Rolap gets more involved and we can figure some stuff out. But overall, props to Europeans. Incredible dominant win. And while the score looks close, let's be real. It was close for about 3 hours on Sunday. But for 2.5 days, it was an all-time beatdown. I mean, at one point in time, it looked like it was going to be historic routing. And we had pride. We came storming back. The Bryson moments were really cool. Cam Young hitting that putt. I mean, being a New York guy, hitting that at Bethpage, where I think he won an amateur event. Leading, anytime that someone, when you weren't in that big of trouble and you sent him off first, shows you the respect that how well these guys thought of him, and Keegan believed he was playing, and he answered the bell. Especially, I mean, the guys are beating, Rose, Fleetwood, Rory. It was not easy. So they did their part, and it was extremely entertaining. But I think I don't think we're gonna win the next one.